utterances of end-time declarations. Let your heart be troubled no longer. You finally have your hands on what you've been waiting for. Now, prepare yourself for the ride of your life, as well as the life to come. Joseph Farah, founder of WND.com and WND Books. Introduction. Mired in a mess. It is amazing how many times material within certain chapters of this audiobook had to be adjusted while in the middle of writing. Some of the chapters were eventually rewritten entirely. Why? Because as the audiobook was being penned, the world continued to dramatically change, rapidly, especially in the Middle East, the land of biblical prophecy. What a commentary on the prophetic nature of our day. For example, the bulk of this work began in late 2015. During that time, Russian and Chinese troops were arriving in Syria. Russia then entered military agreements with Iran, the ancient land of Persia, and all of that clearly the trappings of biblical prophecy. In the meantime, Turkey was immersed in a re-Islamization process, while ISIS, at the same time, was striving to bring about its apocalyptic visions of an end-of-days Islamic jihad. However, by March 2016, just as the publisher's manuscript deadline was approaching, conditions in the land of the Bible took another dramatic turn. Saudi Arabia announced it was putting together a coalition of 25 to 30 nations and would be training 350,000 troops for possible insertion into the Syrian conflict. The United States announced it was backing Saudi Arabia. Vladimir Putin proclaimed that if these things happened, it would be the beginning of World War III. Nothing prophetic so far, right? Wow. Then, by the middle of March 2016, Fox News announced Putin was in the process of pulling his troops out of Syria. This was their assessment of that situation. Even as Putin backs out of Syria, he looks stronger in the region. Meanwhile, the U.S. continues to appear as a lost babe in the woods of a Middle East meltdown. And it's important to note, Putin's not talking about a total withdrawal. Russia will retain a military footprint in Syria just as it has in Croatia, and that residual force can be useful for destabilizing as well as stabilizing purposes. While the drawdown has begun, the fact of the matter is that Putin will have Assad's back for a long, long time, and that will leave the rest of the Arab world mired in a mess. I hope not, but it could be by the time you're listening to this audiobook. Putin's World War III has already begun. My fervent prayer is that perhaps it will have been diverted. Regardless, the Word of God is clear. There is coming a last days World War III event. That war will be centered in the Middle East, and it will more than likely involve Syria, perhaps Russia, and China as well. A sizable number of Bible scholars believe we may be currently watching that dreaded global war building to a head, right in the midst of our historical generation. Believe it or not, there is so much more to this audiobook than even all that. We are living in unprecedented prophetic times. Biblically foretold events are rolling in like a flood, and as you will discover in the pages that follow, we are the first generation to see these events. Furthermore, everything we will examine commenced with the foretold resurrection of the nation of Israel. Imagine that. Do not fear. There is no need to be concerned with subscribing to a certain eschatological scheme as you begin listening to this audiobook. That is not the purpose of this work. However, what we will do is examine what the Bible clearly reveals about the signs scheduled to accompany the last days generation. We will then mirror those prophecies against what is actually happening in the world of our day. From there, you will decide. You will have reliable and documented information at hand so you can make a biblical, historical, and geopolitically accurate decision as to the season.